when it comes to drag boat racing, I've had my thrills. I've shown my skills. And yes, indeed, I've had a few spills. But ultimately, I absolutely love drag boat racing. We've been off the track for a couple of seasons to focus on our business, Oxidean Marine, but it's time. We're getting back on the track. We're resurrecting the boat with a brand new motor, way more horsepower, and we'd like to bring you along as we start this journey. Shall we? Come along.
Well, the day has come in the season for the toy exchange. Katie's been fun for the summer and fall, but it's time to put her away for the winter and bring out the boat. The race boat, that is. She's on her way. Katie gets put away. Number 103 had a flat. This nice gentleman had a pump for us, and we're getting it done. With the full 40 pounds of tire pressure, we are ready to hit the road. I mean, I could hit her with the hose for the ride home, but let's just get her home. Well, finally got her home. Let's back her on into the garage. Well, she's here. Safe in my garage. A bit dusty, that's for sure. But she is certainly here and ready to start the resurrection. First thing in the morning, let's go check out the spacecraft. Placecraft. I know, you guys are used to me showing you guys RC boats, but this morning we're doing something a bit different. We're showing the Placecraft tunnel. This is actually the same type of hull, same brand and make as Mike Finnegan's Game Over from Finnegan's Garage. What's quite a bit and uniquely different about this one is it's one of the original Placecrafts. This one's from 1978. Believe it or not, this is the first Placecraft to ever have a serial number. The serial number is 1 on this Placecraft. A Placecraft is what's known as a tunnel jet. So it's not like your dad or your uncle's Tahiti with a V-bottom. This thing actually has tunnels underneath. And these plates here are actually air plates. They direct the air that comes out of the tunnel, and that adjusts how the back end acts. Like I said, it is a tunnel jet. You can see underneath, there's actually a center keel. And there's 2 sponsons on the sides, like a cat. It is a tunnel jet. It rides on a cushion of air. Now you want to see something really cool about this boat, besides the fact that my logo's on the side of it? Aside from its super cool, all original, wavy gravy, Sunrise 70 style graphics, these graphics actually run from the top to the bottom of the boat, and I've never seen that before. Check this out. Okay, see this brown line right here? It actually continues into the bottom. And you see some lava lamp graphics on the bottom. See that? So you get under here. It extends the back. It does it on both sides. And all the way up the keel. This boat is graphics on the bottom. And in the back, we have speed coat. Now, speaking of speed coat, as you can see some right here on the back of the sponson, one similarity between mine and Mike Finnegan's is I've had bottom work done by the legendary Jeff Bennett. Now, if you can see right here, that's the intake. This rounded area is called the spoon. Mine has been reworked to flow water into the jet pump better. The way water bends on a spoon. Now, despite what popular belief is, this hull is light. Like, you don't want to stand on this. I can push that, you can see it flex. Just pushing on it. It flexes in, ooh, it really flexes right there. The hull is less than 400 pounds. Most of the weight is in the bottom. Now let's briefly show you around this thing. We got balsa floors. There have been some repairs done. The engine is out right now. Right now, we have a badass motor being built by Gross Racing Engines. Top dogs in the industry. Gross Racing builds engines for racing legend Tony Scarlatta and many of the top dogs on our track. And that speaks for itself. We're coming back with about 1,000 horsepower. So while we're here, I'll show you around the place a bit. Of course, that's the gas pedal, duh. I made this plate because it was hollow in there and I didn't like water coming in and out of there. Here's my steering wheel. These buttons right here, those are for the jet elevator to go up and down. That switch right there, that's for my transmission shifter. There's not really a transmission, but it's my shifter. Right there, that button is to apply pressure to my blow-off valve, which we'll get to. This is a full race boat. This doesn't operate like your grandpa's lake boat. What we've got here, nitrous. No, it's not nitrous. This is my CO2 bottle. The CO2 bottle operates the blow-off as well as the forward and reverse bucket shifter. Now I've stripped this bad boy down to a one-seater because I mean business. My next step is going to make it center steer. This boat was originally built to center steer, and you can see right there, there's little stress marks on the console, on the dash, because the steering helm used to be right there in the middle. There used to be big old saddle tanks in there, both sides. I did away with those. Now, I have this 2.5 gallon tank. I really wanted to shave weight, so I went with a tiny little AGM battery. What's so rad is we got the bracketry and anodized it to match everything. Like everything's matching anodized in here because it's Bill Oxidean's boat. This right here is my timer. Time for timer. No time for breakfast. What the timer does is actuate my jet elevator. Actually, my place diverter. So here on the pump, we're jumping to the pump now. Here on the pump, it has different angles. This hydraulic right here can give it an up angle or down. And when I leave, it's in a neutral angle like this. But when I start going, I want the front up a bit. It has to leave with a little bit of down because the bow rises so much when it takes off with all that power. So it leaves in a certain position. So instead of me, after the blast, having to actuate anything, my timer automatically kicks in and the place diverter moves up. This right here is my jetaway. That's my ratchet. That's a safety device, so if I lose motor, if the motor shuts down, the jet pump doesn't just lock up. Because when that happens, when the jet pump just stops, it makes the boat bug out. There's my U-joint, which I might even replace. There's my bilge pump, which is under the motor. On this little side panel, I've got a pressure gauge for my blow-off valve there. That push button is to start the engine. And that knob right there is the bilge pump. These are all water feed and return lines, plumbing for the engine. There's my MSD blaster coil. I was running a 6AL MSD, which was fine, but with the power that I'm moving up to, we're going to the grid. My Big Daddy oil filtration system with Big Daddy. Feed and return lines. Now for the pump. What we've got is the old school Berkeley R intake. I stayed with an R because this boat originally had an R on it. And the people that I work with, they know a lot about R's. And that's where I wanted to start. I also went with the Berkeley suction housing. We have a Place race nozzle with inserts. Custom made neutral bucket. What the neutral bucket does is when you're on the starting line for racing, you don't need reverse. We've blocked reverse out. We're sitting there, we're revving the engine. We need the boat to just sit there. So the water actually shoots out of the sides, out of these holes, instead of shooting back. So when you're sitting there, it shoots out of the sides and the boat doesn't go anywhere. Then when you release the bucket and lift that up, then the water can shoot straight out. And that's where you're taking off. This is my Mills pop-off valve, or blow-off valve. What the blow-off valve does is it releases the pressure from the pump at the end of your run. That way, when you let your foot off the throttle, it doesn't just go directly back to the pump and make the boat bug out and start dipping and weaving. And if you get in a bad situation, you release that blow-off valve and it lets the boat settle down real nice and safely and land well. And that leads me to why I got a Placecraft. Placecrafts are known as the safest of the tunnel jets. I've had it actually land on me a couple times. It will choose a direction, but it doesn't spin out as hard like other boats will. This is my ride plate. This is what the boat actually rides on. It's almost like with an RC boat, it's like a trim tab with just one right in the middle. And I adjust this to adjust how the boat rides going down the track. There are other aspects to this thing, like inside the pump, which we'll get to on our next episode, because I'm going to get under there and do some things. At the very least, I'm going to change my loader bolts. The loader bolts are here, and that can be a really dangerous thing on a race boat for a jet. If those bolts snap and the loader goes haywire, your boat can go haywire and you can go haywire. But again, that's for next episode of this. While I'm here, I want to give special thanks to Glenn Schuler for rigging up my pump. The thing's amazing. Donnie LeBon for helping me with his settings that he's used on hydrophobia and his knowledge. I'd like to thank Joey Gross for building my new motor. I'd like to thank Greg Walsh. I'd like to thank Jim Coffey over at Performance Jet in Sebastopol, California. And most definitely, I would love to thank my homeboy racing legend, Tony Scarlatta. Yep, she'll be back on the water again soon. And until then, please join me for different episodes of getting her back on the water. It's not going to take a long time. Me and my boys, we don't play. We know boats. And if you haven't figured it out already, for the best in radio cultural boats, from someone that lives, eats, and breathes them, and quite frankly, pardon my French, knows their shit, come see Oxidean Marine for the world's fastest and highest quality radio control boats. So remember, subscribe to our channel, smash the like button, and heck, enjoy a couple more shorts.